Okay, I'll just share. I'll just put PPT. So we have been saying till now the faith in scriptures, how we can get the knowledge about God. For that we need Shabda Praman. But is it that only faith is required, or just we have to put a blind faith in scriptures to know have the knowledge of God? Can't we logically, entomologically, theologically understand the presence of God in this nature? Yes, we can. For that we are having today's session. This session is mastermind behind the mysterious universe. It's not that just based on scriptures we can come to the conclusion. Surely scriptures are like mothers, but if you're a little intelligent, we can see things around our world, and we can see by observing the world around us scientifically, we can see the hand of supreme intelligent designer. Like creationists point out this term as intelligent design. So whenever scientists have come up with this intelligent design, they have been fired from the job because that breaks that neo-Darwinist theory that everything has evolved. So we are going to see our observation, scientist observation, $2 million question, activity time, and our prime duty. So does God exist? Yeah, we are in Bhagavad Gita session, but how does it matter? Yeah, it's going to matter very soon. We'll get to know who creates and maintains this beautiful and harmonious universe. Most of us, when somebody ask us a question, बाहर जब भी कोई पूछता है सच में भगवान विश्वास करते हो क्या, तुम छाती तान के बोल नहीं पाते कि हाँ विश्वास करता हूँ मैं, मन में ये विश्वास बोलते लेकिन भगवान में ये विश्वास पता नहीं. तो neither we tell that we are theist, we neither we deny that we are atheist. Like once there was a sadhu who came to a village, and there was a big pravachan going on. Have I told this story to you before, or I'm telling it for the first time? And he made a question: how many of you believe in God? So nobody raised hand. And then the audience, nobody raised hand, and the sadhu went off. The acharya went off and told that if you don't believe in God, then what I'm going to speak about God? How it going to make sense to all of you? Then after some time, the sadhu came next time. Again, the host, the village people, all the panchayats, they called up the sadhu and told, okay, महाराज जी माफ कर दीजिए, अगली बार आ जाइए, अगली बार सब लोग विश्वास करेंगे. Then yeah, next time after 1 month, this acharya came, sadhu came, and he asked a question. Same question: कितने लोग भगवान में विश्वास करते हो? सब ने हाथ उठाया. And when all of them raised hands, then sadhu told, if all of you believe in God, then what am I going to speak about God? Again, he left the place. So next time, the organizers went him for the next time, approached him for the third time. That time they had a discussion that the half left side of the people will not raise hand and right side of the people will raise hand. So when the question came of how many believe in God, the right side people raised hands. And what about the remaining? They told we don't believe in God. So those who believe in God, right side people can explain the left side people who don't believe in God. Take each one and try to convince about them about the existence of God. Therefore, many times when we are not very clear, so therefore we can't tell confidently really God exists. And because when that doesn't happen, our reading of Bhagavad Gita doesn't become very effective. Then when we start reading it, then we start thinking it from a materialistic point of view, from social point of view, from society point of view, from nation point of view, from all the points of view, but from except from Lord Krishna's point of view. So to have a logical understanding of God is very, very important. Sometimes we accept God because we want to get to get a good marks in exam. We want to go and crack an interview, therefore we go to temple of Hanumanji and put a tika. And sometimes we may not believe in God, but just because we have bought a big car of 15-20 lakhs, we want to do a puja in front of some temple of Nrsingadev so that this car should remain, it should not get destroyed. So when you observe things around us, we see there is artistry. When we see a photograph, we see who has painted it, a painting. When you see organization, there's a big CEO behind it. When you see a big creation of some ants or some ant hills, you see that ants have manufactured it. When you see a design, then someone has put a rangoli. When you see energy, and somebody hits a stone, we tell that someone has threw it. It has not come. The stone is not flying on its own. And when we see a law, when a traffic law, we see that there is a traffic police in charge behind it. This is just a revision of what we have seen long back in your first, second year. So when you see this Mona Lisa, So you see this painting, Leonardo da Vinci has drawn Mona Lisa, Gerard has drawn this landscape, Thomas Sanchez has drawn this, has painted this waterfall, Henry Rossio has painted this flower vase. So what to speak of actual woman, beautiful woman, actual landscape, Himalayas with Ganges flowing down, actual waterfall, Nigerian fall, or a beautiful rose. Who have who has painted this natural scene? So we can ask this question. And similarly, we see such wonderful waterfall. Now, who is the artist? We see some wonderful lotus flower in nature. So, who is the artist? For paper rose, we need a pen, we need a marker, then we need a paper, we need a scissor, and that time we can cut it into pieces and make a leaves of green paper and then put a stick down and keep it in flower vase. So for a paper rose, there is a manufacturer required. What to speak of a natural rose? Don't you think there is someone behind it? That people who don't know, when you go to a airport, when automatically the door opens, a child may say it automatic, but as adult engineers we know there is sensor in it, and automatically you go seeing the bodily temperature and some photo electron method, the whole sensing machine, it is working and it opens and closes. What to speak of flowers in nature? So that should also have some artist behind it. So that means artistry means artist. So who has painted this wonderful universe? There is a God. Similarly, we see this beehive structure. It can be, if you are able to see the structure inside the beehive, it is hexagonal. One, two, three, four, five, six. Why it is not a rectangle? Why it is not a triangle? Why it is not a square? Why it is not a pentagon? Why it is not octagon? Why only it is hexagon? Because according to space management, example, when there are aircrafts are made with this honeycomb structure. It's called honeycomb structure, hexagonal space, and this occupies a lot of volume with less weight. The structure becomes very strong, and in aircrafts we need a material which is light at the same time strong. The strength to weight ratio should be more, and this honeycomb structure serves a purpose. So in wings, this kind of honeycomb structure is used because this kind of honeycomb hexagonal structure, petrol is stored, the fuel of the engine, oil for the aircraft is stored, the weight is reduced, and with less weight a lot of volume is accomplished and the strength is also increased. Therefore, this honeybees, who give this knowledge to the honeybees that they have to manufacture this hexagonal honeycomb structure to store a lot of ghee with less weight and with increased strength. And we also this ant hill, how the manufacturers ant hill, which engineering college, which civil engineering degree they got. Is spider web. Now it has a strong, this web cannot be torn by any of the insect. We as humans can pull it, but a spider makes an artistry, and once somebody gets trapped in it, nobody can come out of it. And a silkworm can work cocoon, which can be used for cloth. This is like fashion designing. These are beavers. They can block the whole river flow to make their palaces. They are like big dam builders. They can shift weight 100 times more than their body weight in a day, and in that way they can make bridges. I think I can show this video to all of you.
Building process in the building. Process. Upstream, among the cottonwood trees, the beaver.
So these animals which are in nature, they have not gone to any of the architectural department. They have never gone to any technological university, but they have become wonderful organizers. Therefore, beautiful organization means there is an organizer who has given that knowledge to them, the super soul within their heart, the Paramatma within their heart. Likewise, we see wonderful things created by man. We see sleek cars. When as soon as we see which brand, which company manufactured it, someone manufactured it. Yes. So which brand? Someone assembled it. Someone designed the watch. Someone erected this architectural manual. Someone built this building. Someone carved this sculpture. It has not come by chance. Suddenly there was a bomb blast, a big bang, suddenly it came out. No. Similarly, don't you think this universe also should have some super intelligent creator for it? Yes. Creation implies a creator. That means in this universe we have water, we have oxygen, we have food, we have seasonal changes, everything is provided. So how these things can happen by chance? It never happens that when you become hungry and come back to the home and suddenly now it's like you had lunch, suddenly lunch came flying to your plate. No, there is a people behind it, there's mother behind it, the father is bringing grocery, and someone is trying to cook, somebody has bought cylinder, some near and dear one relative. Similarly, we see the whole magnificent sequoia tree, which is the longest tree, almost as long as Statue of Liberty. Its potential tree is within a seed, a grain. In this grain of 1 centimeter, one a Statue of Liberty size of tree is going to grow, and a highway, practically a road, passes through its trunk. We put this seed inside the soil, and such a huge sequoia tree grows, and you can see at its foothill people standing, so huge in America. And sometimes the road is carved between the trunk. The world's largest tree is a giant sequoia. It's 84 meters high, 275 feet, and 29 meters in diameter at the trunk. You can see that person standing at its foot. Hmm, hmm, hmm. So similarly, we can see the human brain can store more information than all the libraries in the world. Dr. Jeff Restak, MD, author of the brain. And who has manufactured the brain? And let's go down to the micro world. It can store all the information of the whole world inside the brain. Don't you think? The whole civilization, human civilization is running because of this brain. People are just designing, people are erected at big, big cities, all technological advancement, language, everything has come from this. So who has manufactured it? It can't come by chance. And if you go to micro world, there are all the structures. Everywhere the design, it is not abrupt. When you see a design, there is a designer, BLS, cubic, body centered, face centered, simple orthomic, centered orthomic. So there are so many structures, and slight degree change in one of them can make an apple into an onion, a graphite into a diamond, a slight molecular change. So there's such homogeneous structural analysis made in nature, and it is not just existing on its own. We have just invented it. We have just discovered it. But who has created it? The whole universe. And this is a very nice video, which I'll try to share with all of you.
1200 AD, a man named Leonard Pisano, better known as Fibonacci, discovered a sequence of numbers that created a very interesting pattern. The sequence begins with the numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and continues indefinitely. Each number is obtained by adding the last two digits together. A rectangle with a length and width of any two of the numbers of this sequence forms what is known as the golden rectangle, a perfect rectangle. A golden rectangle can be broken down into squares the size of the next Fibonacci numbers down and below. If we were to take a perfect or golden rectangle, Break it down into smaller squares based on Fibonacci's sequence and divide each with an arc. The patterns begin to take shape. We begin to see Fibonacci's spiral. The spiral in and of itself is insignificant. Its importance is revealed in where we find it. Take, for example, the sunflower. The display of its florets are in perfect spirals of 55, 34, and 21, the sequence of Fibonacci. The fruitlets of the pineapple create the same spiral based on the sequence. The pine cone does the same. As currents move through the ocean and the tide rolls onto the shore, the waves that bring in the tide curve into a spiral that can be mathematically diagrammed onto a plot at the points 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and 55. Buds on trees, sand dollars, starfish, petals on flowers, and especially the nautilus shell are formed with this exact same blueprint. With each segment of growth, the nautilus adds to itself one more value on Fibonacci's scale. This blueprint can be seen around us on a small scale every day, but the greatest example of all is directly above our heads. At an average of 100,000 light years across, even the spiral of the galaxies above us are formed with the exact design that the tiny shell is formed. This sequence, our blueprint, appears to be the trademark of a designer, a proof of a creator, something left behind, indicating the one who was there, a fingerprint. As we scan our universe, from the tiny flower to the awe-inspiring galaxy, we see the fingerprint of God.
Okay, this Fibonacci series is called as God's fingerprint. So this video showed there is a square with 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and then 8, then 13, 21. So when you draw with epicenter, it comes to be a Fibonacci series, a spiral thing. So we have spiral galaxy, we have patterns of lotus which is spiral, all, even the twister inside the, even the waves inside the ocean. So this has been observed by scientists. Even when it comes to the bones inside our hand, the size of that is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 13, that sort of thing. So there is a pattern which is being followed in the whole of the universe. So definitely it cannot be so systematic. System means there has to be some system, some person who's behind it. Similarly, see the space. When you want to launch a satellite, there is clock monitoring 24/7, orientation, spin, velocity, orbit decay, cosmic radiation, heat dissipation, Earth satellite distance. So many employees required just to launch a satellite. So many companies which are funding it. And what to speak of Earth, which is having such weight of 6 into 10 to 21 metric tons, put around the sun is like a satellite. And who is controlling it? Guru Takashapa. Gama Vishwabhutani Dharam Sakalam Praja. 15th chapter. 15th chapter, 10th or 12th verse, Lord Shri Krishna is telling to Arjuna that it is he who is making the gravitational force of the earth and is trying to put in the orbit and keeps on rotating around the sun. It is he who has put the moon around it and which is nourishing the vegetables around the earth. And therefore, we can find who's in control. Yes, NASA. NASA is just controlling satellite sitting on the earth, but who's controlling the earth around the sun? Traffic policeman controls the signal of a traffic. Who controls the traffic of the revolving planets? So design indicates a designer. So Fibonacci series was a design, and the amount of energy emitted by the sun in 1 second is enough for the whole human race to consume throughout the whole history of the planet Earth till the time it is functional, till the time it doesn't get unmanifested. Therefore, now who has put this sun, who has bombarded the first neutron in the sun? Somebody may say because of fusion reaction it is happening, but nuclear fusion. But who has bombarded the first neutron? Who has made this reaction happen in the sun and it is emitting so much of energy? If a stone hits our TV screen from a window, we ask who has hit the stone, who is playing outside. Similarly, energy means kinetic energy of some person has hit the stone. Similarly, when sun is heating, who is producing this heating energy to the sun? Energy indicates energetic. Likewise, we can see thermal energy, we can see so many energies, wind energy. So who's behind everything? Look at the world around. The college starts on time, like all of your college is going to start within 3-4 days, and you have to log in at one point of time at 8 o'clock, then 1 o'clock you have a lunch break. So principal or a dean makes the rules. You go on the in India, you should keep on left. When you go to US, you should keep on right. Indian traffic laws and American traffic police try to make these laws. Who decides in one day there has to be 50 overs, and then in test match 5 days, and in T20 Cup there are 20 overs. So who made all these rules? And who should bat and who should win the toss, and International Cricket Council. Similarly, who has placed the chemicals inside the table? Someone has placed it. It is based on the periodic law. It's not a periodic chance. Similarly, this optics, law of physics, law of thermodynamics, micro world to macro world. Even dead matter for our information follows precise laws of mathematical accuracy govern this world. For example, if you have been in chemistry laboratory and you have been working out the titration, burette, pipette, and titration as experiment. You take a chemical and there is a burette down, and you're trying to put 10 drops of that drops, and after the 10th drop, when you put 10.1, there's little pink. 10.2, it becomes more pink. 10.3, it becomes completely pink, and then you get to 10.3 is the testing scale for this chemical. This goes for titration experiment in chemistry. That means even a dead matter follows some law. So small elements also follow law. What to speak of big elements? So flawless laws make lawmaker. So if small elements, small insects, they follow a law. So how can we as humans be beyond the law? Surely Indian government is acting on us, but before we take birth, who decides that why we are born beautiful, why someone is born ugly, why someone is born handsome, why someone is born not so handsome, why someone is born stinking rich, why somebody is born very poor, poverty stricken, why somebody becomes intelligent and gets a MD doctor, why somebody has to labor lifelong. Now, who decides this? If even an insensible matter like chemical can follow a particular law, a trait, we as humans, don't you think, as one, so many billions of humans are staying on this planet Earth in the whole universe? So universe is a university. Nothing happens by chance. For everything, there is a reason. Therefore, we should not blindly think that our presence in this universe is simply because of chance. We have come for a divine purpose. There's a divine mission, and therefore we are not humans on a spiritual journey when you attend these programs like spirituality or when trying to read Bhagavad Gita. But we are actually spirits also on human journey when we have come to this planet, and we're trying to go and study and all this stuff. We are spiritual souls on a human journey, and therefore, when we try our best, why not that you tried for IIT and you could not crack it, and why you came to NIT and then particular department in NIT? Why all those things have a reason behind it? Because nothing happens by chance. There is a reason behind it. So we choose education to some extent. Can choose a job. We can choose a husband or a wife. We can choose a car. We can choose an apartment to that matter if you really have money. To some extent, we don't choose all these things, but we don't choose face cut or parents, face shape, intelligence. Who chooses and on what basis? Is it by chance? So the whole world says everything is happening by chance. That is how it is called as automatic, but it is not by chance. Is it already shown that in the world of matter, physics, chemistry, thermodynamics follow definite, well-defined laws? Even a small chemical also follows a law. So how can our life be a random event? No, there is law of karma in our life, and that is a shloka. When a man and woman come together to produce children, and the soul enters moment based on the consciousness of the father, a particular soul is attracted to the mother's womb. Therefore, whenever marriage is done, marriage is called as samskar, vivaha samskar, and after the marriage, people call it as garbhadan samskar. So there is shloka in Bhagavatam, karmana deva nektrena jantor deo papatte karmana. Because based on karma, under the action of a universal government, daiva nektrena, natural, universal, creator, Jantur Dehope Patte, a living entity accepts a body. How? Striya in the female, Pravishta Udaram in her womb, Pumso by the man, through his semen, the living entity takes shelter and enters into the womb. and based on past karmic activities, and therefore somebody is born poor, rich. The disparity in the universe because of this law of karma. This is we are going to see. This is the fifth theme of the Bhagavad Gita. Flawless laws implies the lawmaker. Therefore, it's very important for us to have systematic understanding. Yes, it's not a by chance, but there is a divine region, divine origin, and there is reasons behind what we are trying to do in our life. So scientists tell there's a perfect brain behind all the natural physical laws, Albert Einstein, and he also concluded the same thing, Erwin Schrodinger. Yes, there is a person, a mind behind the whole world. If you think strongly enough, you will be forced by science to believe in God, Lord Kelvin told. That means if you're really scientific, if you're really logical, you can see things around and can see that there's a mind, mastermind behind the whole universe. And you know the story of Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton, along with his friend, and Isaac Newton was seeing at the night sky and trying to tell sun is so much big, Earth is so much big. I think who has created all these things, whole solar system? Then his friend told, why someone has to create it? Everything has just sprang up by chance. Then Isaac Newton tried convincing his friend that according to logic, if you see, it's a systematically organized. Anywhere there is organization, there should be organizer. Anywhere there is a creation, there should be creator. Till now, what we discussed, same thing Isaac Newton was trying to tell his friend. But his friend was not in a mood to hear. So then the next day, his friend came to meet Isaac Newton, and on his table, this particular machine, a small solar system kind of model was being kept there. And when Isaac Newton came to that place, when his friend came to his living house, then his friend asked, "Oh, Isaac Newton, where did you brought this solar system model from? Who created it? I also want to order one for my own house. It looks so beautiful." This was 17th century, long back. Now, Isaac Newton told everything. I just slept yesterday night, and morning I got up and just saw this model in front of my dining table. Then his friend became really furious. Then he understood his mistake. Yes, if such a small model cannot come by chance, it really needs a carpenter or a designer. So why do we think, why do we doubt that this whole systematic universe, which is cosmos, means systematically organized harmonious universe? In this there is no water, in this there is no air, it's just a solid thing. But in our universe, all basic facilities for living, everything is made, hosting 84 lakh species of life. How that can come by chance? And powerful being. This being governs all the things not as the soul of the world, but as a Lord over all. And on account of his dominion, he is to be called the Lord God, universal ruler, Sir Isaac Newton. So we can see creation of the creator, Max Born. An equation for me has no meaning unless it represents the thought of God. That means all revelation comes because of the super soul. There is higher power not influenced by our wishes, which finally decides and judges. Werner Heisenberg. God stood far beyond anything we can have in this world, Michael Faraday. So all the scientists, they were theists, and they had their own logic for that. So two questions we come to a conclusion now. As honest, if you ask, who create who created this universe? Yes, it is not by Big Bang chance. There is an intelligent design. And what is the purpose? Eat, sleep, be merry, kabhi kushi, kabhi gum. No purpose, to understand God and life. To understand God and life. So origin of universe is not by chance. It is a designer, creator. God is behind it, and its purpose is, what is the purpose? To understand God and life. To understand beyond birth. Therefore, the purpose. No machine comes by chance and has no purpose. So our universe also has not come by chance. It has a creator and it has a purpose that the living entities can understand. As people, as humans, we can understand God. So Big Bang, it has highly probable assumptions, as Encyclopedia Britannica says, that it should be emphasized that no theory of the origin of the universe has at one general acceptance. All involve highly improbable assumptions. Because how can something come from a point? Nothing can come from a point. If you go to kitchen, you see food coming from the point. How is it possible? But food can come from some person. Therefore, a living being can give life, not the non-living being. So if you see the universe around us, it is having government of India. We compare with the universal government, the defense manages, home ministry, law and order, health ministry, ministry of energy, finance ministry, defense ministry, education ministry. Law and order is kept inside our country because of police department, crime department. Similarly, universal government, there are certain laws being made. If you smoke, you get cancer. If you drink, you get liver problem. If you eat meat, you get cancer, and many such things. So there are restrictions, which we call it as moral restrictions, which are given in Vedic literature, Quran or Bible. These are not just simple rules and regulations. If you don't follow it, when we break our head against the wall, we don't break the wall, we break our head. So law and order is maintained because of some regulations kept so that we can live as humans, otherwise we'll become animals. Health ministry. In universe, we get Ayurvedic herbs in the nature. Ministry of Energy of Electricity and Light, we get it by sun and moon. Finance Ministry, we get gold, silver, navaratnas, diamonds in the mine. Based on that, we evaluate our currency. Defense Ministry, we have ozonosphere. We have immunity in the body. When we cut our body, the blood clots. Education Ministry, we have Vedas, Bible, Quran. Similarly, what is our prime duty as human beings? We understand that intelligence to appreciate the great creation of God, unfold mysteries of God's creation through science to glorify God, to understand and explain the purpose of Lord's creation, which is to love God and love all, and to utilize everything for pleasure of God and welfare of all. So we have come to the conclusion of today's session, and hope we will continue with the further session very soon. And almost we're on the end. And I think this was very fast session, but I thought this already we are going to start Bhagavad Gita class. Therefore, we thought this is a quick synopsis of what we had. Abhijit Pro, you're okay with this discussion?
Yes, Prabhuji.
No issues, na? Chalo. We'll continue tomorrow with next session. Hare Krishna. Shivam Pro, please send the recording of